Good evening. I'm Brad Wells, and I'm joined with Addison K. Wells, a third grader at Orange Elementary. And Addison recently read the book Tuesdays at the Castle, and she's here to tell us a little bit about that book. Addison, let's start with what part in the beginning started the action?
Well, Celie and her siblings, Lilia and Rolf, had their parents go on a trip to the College of Wizardry. The trip went fine, but when they were entering the college, they were attacked by some bad people. And when they got the news from Sergeant Avery, the head soldier, they were very worried.
Okay. Who's the main character in this book, Tuesdays at the Castle?
Celia is because she is the one that is mostly worried about her parents, and so she wants to do something to see if her parents are still alive.
Okay. Now, Celia finds out that the castle is magical. What does Celia do to find out the castle is magical?
Well, she, on the certain staircase in the castle, whenever she goes up it, the castle leads her to a spyglass tower. And in the spyglass tower is a secret door put there by the castle. And there is a cloak put there. And so she tries on the cloak and finds out that it makes her silent. Absolutely silent. And so she decides to go down into this little door and finds out that there are certain people planning to kill Rolf, which is the oldest, who is planned to be king if her parents aren't found. And so there are these Vervish people from another kingdom, and they want to try to take over Slane. And so Celie thinks that they were the people that attacked her parents. And so she tells Rolf and Lilia, so they're I can't think of the word. So they're prepared.
Okay. So with that accusation that you're talking about, how does that affect Celia or the others?
Well, that gets her even more worried because she thinks that with all their power that they killed her parents, she thinks that they will try to kill not just Rolf, but everybody because they think they're so powerful. But she still has hope that her parents are still alive because Sergeant Avery survived, and he went to the College of Wizardry to see if any of the dead bodies are the king and queens, to see if they have the bodies to bury at their funeral. And they find out that there is no sign of the king, queen, and the queen.
Oh my. Oh my. What happened next?
Well, the wizards try to use their magic scent of following their footprints, but they find out that it comes to a stop. And the king does have capability of powers so nobody can know where they went. So they predict that they're still alive, but they also think that it may just be that they died in that spot and they were taken away.
Well, this is getting good. What did that do to Celia then?
Well, she was even more worried than before, and she wanted to warn her sister and brother about that. And when she told Rolf and Lilia about Kelsch wanting to kill them, that got them worried too. And so when Celia told them what she had heard, they all had hope that their parents were still alive, but the other twos thought that they were most likely not, but she still had plenty of hope.
We're talking with Addison Wells, a third grader at Orange Elementary, about the book Tuesdays at the Castle. Addison, is there anything bad that happened in this book?
Yes, because when the castle led her back down to the secret room.
Celia.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she found out that they needed a strategy to attack Rolf. And so they said that once at the coronation, when he gets crowned king, that they will tell him that he needs to be, he is too young to be king by himself, and so Kelsch and his people are going to help him through it, but that's part of their strategy to kill Rolf.
Oh my.
And so the next day when they're in the throne room, Rolf, Celia, and Lilia are there talking, and at the coronation that happened the last day, Rolf got crowned king, and so he was sitting on the throne. But then Kelsch came in and said that he needed to have help getting through the king thing, and so he had to sign this paper, and he said, I will take it to my room so I can look it over and sign it then. And oopsies.
That's all right. Just keep talking about after he went to sign a letter in his room.
The next day, he said that he hadn't signed it because he didn't agree.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Prince Kelsch, he got mad, and so he put his arms up and said, but you have to sign it. And just then, under his armpit on his cloak, it ripped open because
I think we'll get to that in just a little bit. First, though, answer this question. Does Celia do anything about Prince Kelsch and his plan to kill the new king?
Yes, she went up to the spyglass tower, and since the castle led her to Kelsch's room, she thought that since the castle led her to their secret hideout, she thought that it would lead her to Kelsch's room. And so she whispered to the castle, I need to see Prince Kelsch's room. And so a door opened, and she put on the cloak, and she found Prince Kelsch's room. And she did see that the castle did not like him, and the castle knew that something was wrong with him because his bed was crooked. He had a very small closet. It was very untidy, and the room was so tiny that only 100 mice could fit in it.
So, who are the people that are helping Celia?
Well, there was someone at the funeral named Prince Luthen, and there are some maids that are helping Celia, and of course Rolf and Lilia are coming up with their own plan to stop Prince Kelsh's plan. And what the maids are doing to help, Celia told them to steal some of their clothes for them, and Prince Luthen helped because he went down to the kitchen and got some ink. And then together the maids, Prince Luthen, Rolf, and Lilia and Celia, they all took the clothes and dipped them in ink to make stains, and they also unstitched some of their clothes so that when they
that would be embarrassing to have your clothes unstitched.
Yeah, and so that when they put their arms up, it would come undone.
It's like a crazy April Fool's joke.
Yeah.
All the time. Okay, Addison, final couple of questions. Does the story have a happy ending, and what happened in the end?
Yes, it has a happy ending, and what happened in the end is when Prince Kelsh went to get the paper from Rolf, he said that I have not signed it because I do not agree with it.
Mm-hmm.
And so Prince Kelsh said, but you have to sign it. And that's when his cloak came undone. And it was really funny. And so he said, Rolf said to Kelsh, why, that is not proper manners at this castle. You must leave. And he said, well, you're definitely gonna want to leave when you see your sisters getting seized. And luckily, their friend Pog, he was in there from the fields, and he came in and told Celia and Lilia to run up to the spyglass tower because he knew their plan too, but he wasn't really helping with it. And so they ran up to the spyglass tower, but first they stopped by the rooms to get some bedding, clothes, and food. And when they went up to the spyglass tower, Celia looked into one of the spyglasses, and she said, Lilia, come look. There's, the castle is showing the throne room for us. And so Lilia went to another spyglass and said, be quiet so we can watch and hear what's going on. Everything was fine, but Celia wasn't that sure. So when they left, she told Lilia that she still thought that her parents were alive because their rooms hadn't changed, and since the castle is magical, their rooms would have changed, and so there wouldn't be the best bedding in there, and it would go to Rolf. But none of it changed, and so she told them that she still had hope that her parents were still alive, and so they agreed with her and thought that they might be, but they still weren't so sure. And so Celia was so worried about that when she was wandering around the castle, she noticed that she got caught by Prince Kelsh, and when she tried to run the other way, she ran into one of his guards. And so...
I thought you said this has a happy ending. Are you getting there?
Yeah.
Okay.
And she was caught, but Lilia tried to save her, but then she got caught too. Rolf was the only one that was safe because last night he had snuck out of the castle and gathered up some soldiers. There were 3 groups, and each group had 100 men in it, and they planned to attack Kelsh. And when Kelsh went out there, he held up Princess Celia, and he had a knife in his hand. And he said, you all leave or the princess dies. And so, but none of them left. And so Celia said, "You won't get away with," but she didn't have time to say this because Prince Kelch had struck her in the arm. But it didn't hurt that bad because she was pretty strong.
What did he hit her in the arm with?
His knife.
Oh my.
Yeah. And so when he dropped her, and so she tried to run away and swim through the river that was across from them. But then Prince Kelch caught her again. But this whole time, Princess Celia had stuck her first stuffed animal in her dress. But so it fell out. And Prince Kelch was like, "Oh, it's your little stuffed animal." But just then, the stuffed animal was a lion, and since the castle was on Celia's side, it turned into a real lion and attacked Kelch, and they just disappeared. And so, when Kelch dropped Celia, she just went out. But she woke up in her room, and her parents were there. She knew that they would still be alive, and her wound was much better.
Thank goodness for magic at the castle. This is Addison Wells joining me today, a third grader at Orange Elementary, talking about the book Tuesdays at the Castle. Go find it at your local library. Do you remember the author?
Yeah, Jessica Day George.
Jessica Day George. One last cut here, joined with Addison. Addison, what is the main idea of the story?
I think it's never stop your hope, because Princess Celia, she just kept hoping, and she had hope that her parents were still alive, and she never gave up that hope, and so she found out that they were still alive.
Excellent. That's Addison's take. Maybe yours is don't go anywhere without your magic lion teddy bear, right?
Yeah.